What's up, guys? Out here at the range. I'm doing a test that was brought up to me by one of my viewers. They asked me to do the tall target test on the 3 to 18 by 50 millimeter primary arms hood reticle. So I have a target set up out there. It's 100 yards away. I had 3 columns. I'm going to do testing on how good the turrets track, and also, since it is a BDC reticle, do one column for the hood reticle, seeing what the difference is between using the bullet drop and if you actually dial, and see if they line up pretty close together. I don't expect it to line up perfectly because there's a lot of different variables that go into your bullet drop, but I just want to see how close it is. So I'm gonna get the camera set up, get behind the rifle, load up some rounds, and we'll take some shots. I'm gonna do 3 shots as my baseline for each column, 100 yard zero. Then I'm gonna do the next shot up, and that's gonna be at 500 yards, or what I would dial to get to 500 yards. And then the last shots I'm gonna do at 1,000 yards. And then when I use the BDC, I'm gonna use the 500 yard mark, and then the 1,000 yard mark. And I just want to see if they're pretty close together. At the end, I'm gonna measure it to see how many inches my shots are from the baseline at 100 yard zero. I'm gonna get the camera set up and we'll take some shots. Alright, so that's it for the baseline. I'm gonna load 3 more shots and then dial the reticle. So the scope does have locking turrets, and it's 1/10 mil increments on the click value, and it's marked every half mil. So according to my chart, I'm gonna go up 3.1. All right, I'm gonna hold. I'm holding at the same place, so I'm gonna hold at the little circle I have. So I'm gonna hold at the same place. I'm holding at the little target that I have stuck at the bottom, and at the end I'll show you guys the target. Alright, that was that shots. So next I'm gonna go up to I'm gonna dial in for 1,000 yards and holding at the same exact place. So at 1,000 yards, it says I would hold 10.1. I'm shooting 168 grain bullets. They're the nozzlers, and I actually do all my reloading myself. Let's see, so that's, hold on, I gotta count real quick. 7, 8, 9, 10. Alright, so I dialed up to 10.1. And I'm using Federal brass and CCI primers. Alright, so that's done for the first column. I'm going to go back down to 0, and then for the middle column, and you guys will all understand this at the end when I show you the actual target when I'm talking about the columns. And then so I'm going to go back down to 0, to my 100-yard 0. And then now for this one, I'm not going to touch the turrets. I'm only going to use a BDC, but I'm still aiming at the same point. So I'm going to hold at 0, and then I'm going to kick the rifle up to the BDC to hold at 500, and then 1,000. And this will also measure the return to 0 as well. So now I'm going to go to the BDC at 500, but hold at the same aiming point using the 500-yard BDC. Okay, so now I'm gonna pull up a little bit and hold at the 1,000-yard BDC, right on the target at the bottom, the same target I've been shooting at. Okay, so that's it for the second column. I'm gonna take 9 more shots, but this time I'm gonna dial again. So I'm gonna start off with 0, or my 100-yard 0. Alright, so now I'm gonna dial again, and it was 3.1, I believe. Yeah, 3.1. 1, 2, 3.1. Okay, so I dialed 3.1, but I'm gonna still hold at the very bottom. Alright, so we have one more set to shoot, and this is going to be dialing in at 1,000, and I believe that was 10.1. Yeah, so 10.1. So this scope only goes to, I believe it was 6 or 7? 6. So it goes to 6, and then once you hit the 7, you're back at the 0. So then I want to go, there's 8, 9, 10. So it's over 1 full revolution, and you end up back. Alright guys, clear, get this back. So I'm gonna grab a tape measure and we'll walk down the target and take a look at it. Alright guys, here we are at the target. Lighting's not that great right now, it's kind of overcast. So I don't know if you can actually see these. If it's not really viewable, based on the footage that I get, I will take a picture of it and add it in. When I get back to the house, I'll review everything. But so this was my aiming point down here. I have the three targets lined up down here. That's what I was aiming at. It does look like I screwed up on one of them. I have 4 shots on this one and 2 shots up here. That was definitely my bad. I was supposed to hold at 500 the second round, but after I shot it, the first shot, I thought I might have messed up, but I wasn't too sure, and it kind of looks like I did. So I actually have 4 holes here and 2 holes here. But based on these 2 holes, I'm not really judging it by accuracy. Accuracy is me, it's not the scope. But as you can see, I mean, it's a fair line. I have my 0 down here. So all my shots, so my first 3, I have 1 right here, and then 2 right here, and then I went up to 500. I dialed, I think it was 3.1, and it got me right here. And then I dialed at 10.1, which would have been 1,000 yards with the 308, and it went clear up here. So, I mean, that's a pretty big distance. 308 does drop pretty good, but just, you know, average center mass, or center of the group, to center of the group, I'm basing it on. We're about 31 and a quarter to 31 and a half. And that was our first one. So the second column here, I was supposed to use just a bullet drop. What's in the primary arm system, they are really precise. The thing with the bullet drop though, there's a lot of variations or a lot of different things that can throw off your bullet. We're talking about the temperature of the air, the humidity, the barometric pressure, all that kind of stuff is definitely gonna change your bullet trajectory. And so when you dial in, those are things you have to take account for when you're shooting at long range. Obviously, with it being pre-made and not made for you, it's hard for the guys at Primary Arms to make it directly for you or specific to what you're shooting. So they have some kind of mathematics equation that gets the average for all the different types of bullets that are out there. So if you're going to use it for a DMR purpose, that is definitely the way to go. To hit center mass out to 1,000 yards using the bullet drop, it gets you on. I have a couple other videos and I've been using this for a while and it works. But with this scope, the real thing I wanted to test was the turrets to see how well they track. Because if you want to get a precise firing solution, you do have to dial your reticle in and just to see where it goes. So got a little bit off subject, but yeah, so this was the second column. Like I said, I was supposed to hold here. I screwed up on the first one. But I have 2 holes right here, 1 right there and 1 right there. And one of these holes belong there, but I was holding at the wrong part, and that was my bad. And then I have another 2 shots right here, which are in line with this one. So that's a good sign. That shows that the turrets are tracking based on the stuff that I put in, and that the bullet drop or the BDC actually comes close to what it was for my particular rifle and the load that I'm shooting. And then when I shot for the 1,000 yards, I held down here using a 1,000-yard mark, but my bullet was obviously way up here because of the whole angle and everything, which is almost a straight line. I mean, that's really close to the same place. There is a little bit of wind, but the vertical is off, but the horizontal, they're really close together. I mean, I would say under an inch difference from, you know, the high to the low. But if I just kind of go in the middle, we're right at 36, and then this one was about 35 and a half. And I don't know if you can see, but my first 3 bullets are right here. I had 1, 2, and 3 dialed all the way up to 10 mils, and then I returned back to 0. And it returned me right on the 0. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 right here. So, I mean, I'm still, you know, within area of returning back to 0. And then the third one, I dialed again. So after I went through, I dialed. I was still at 0. I didn't touch the turrets going from this column to this column. And then I have 1 bullet here. And then number 2 is right there. And then number 3 is right above it. So it's a little bit higher, but I mean, a lot of that could be me as well.
I'm shooting off of unstable table, but and after that I dialed 3.1 again, and I have one shot here, one right there, and then one right there. So it's still, the center is still a pretty good line going straight across. So that's telling me that the turrets are tracking true. Each revolution after going back and forth is still coming back up. And then after that I dialed 10.1, which would have been what I'd hold for 1,000 yards. And I have one right here, one right there, and one right there. So this group right here is a little lower than the other two. That could have been me. It may have not tracked perfectly. You know what I mean? It could have been me even dialing in, not getting the exact 10.1. I might have dialed 10. But it gets me within range. I mean, that's still, I mean, if you go a straight line, based on those two right there, I mean, that's still a pretty good straight line. So if you're going to shoot at a very small target, I mean, I guess it depends on your shooting ability, but if you're going to shoot at a normal target, center mass, 18-inch target or 12-inch targets, normally what I shoot is a 12-inch, that's going to get you on every time. I mean, the fact, and the other thing that's good is I actually drew these lines perfectly evened out from each other, and they're a straight line from top to bottom. And then I used one of those little wall mount laser. I think it's made by Ryobi, but we use it at the house to hanging photos. And you basically stick it on a wall, and it has a laser that comes out. So when I set up the target, I actually put the laser on, lined it up with the line, and there's a level in it. So I wanted to make sure that these are perfectly level lines, that they weren't at any kind of angles. And if you look at the bullets, they travel up the line pretty well. I mean, within my shooting ability, they are definitely tracking true straight up. So I didn't mess with the windage at all, but sometimes with some of the cheaper scopes, when you're dialing the vertical elevation, it does track left or right. Sometimes the springs, just the way that they're lined up, you might dial up and it might go up, but it also goes over. So this is another good thing about the scope. It does track straight up and down. So yeah, if you have any other questions, guys, leave a comment. You can get a hold of me on, leave a message here on YouTube. Also, you can go follow Western.ops, Instagram or Facebook, and you can get a hold of me there too. I try and respond pretty quick. I hope this video helps you out. I hope if you're looking for a new scope, you do consider the scope. I don't get paid by Primary Arms at all. They did send this out to me, so I'm very thankful for them sending it out. But from what I can see, the scope does do well. So yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. I hope this video helps you out. If you got something from this, if it helped you out at all, please hit that like and subscribe, and I'll be making more videos coming forward. I have a couple other things coming in, so until next time, guys, have a good day.